Command codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Hello.
There we go. Hi, captains, and welcome to the live broadcast recording of episode 100. Jesus, 501 of
And we've
Priority One.
traveled back in time.
Yes, we have traveled back in time. So hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, and welcome back. We appreciate it. If you're new to joining us during the live stream, or perhaps caught our 500th episode.
Yes.
Shouldn't have. Really?
It said you went out mid-sentence.
Mm-hmm. Mid-sentence.
Yes. Right. Oh,
But now it's
wait.
good.
Yeah.
We're
I'm
okay.
like, what's
Great.
happening?
Thank you,
Yeah,
The
I
Zeph.
know what's
world's
happening.
crazy. Thank you, Zeph.
Thank you, Zeph. All right, so I was saying hello to a bunch of people in the chat. So Zeph, Cairo, Evelyn, Steven's Aaron. We got a bunch of people in the chat. New names that I'm not necessarily familiar with, but sound.
Sounds like. It's like, what?
I think I know what the culprit was. All right,
Oh.
hopefully that fixes it.
Are we
I have a
back?
little mouse jiggler mover that to prevent the live stream machine from going to sleep, and I think I had it hovered over the mic, the mute button, which is why periodically I would click it.
Oh.
So there we go. All right, that should fix it. Hi everybody, once again, welcome to episode 501. It wouldn't be a Priority One podcast show if there weren't issues at the beginning of the production. Hello, haha. All right, 30-second
Consummate.
rotation. That makes sense, Evelyn, because that's how often the magic mouse is supposed to, the mouse mover is supposed to shake. So, all right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello.
I was
Hello.
saying welcome to potentially new viewers who are now joining the community after having been a part of our 500th episode celebrations that were held on March 13th for 500 minutes. It was definitely over 500 minutes. We definitely went over. But it was a fantastic experience. We raised, alone as the community, we raised a little over $2,000. We met and exceeded our goal. But then on top of that, Roddenberry matched it. So in total, we raised a little over $4,000 for the Poor People's Campaign, which
Awesome.
is fantastic. And
Wow, that's fantastic.
I saw the logo there. I forgot to take it off, but we'll leave it on there for now. It's a nice, friendly reminder. So hi, thank you. Who's new in the chat? I'm curious.
I see some new names or
Yeah, right,
names
new
I
names up in
haven't
there.
seen. Yeah. Zeph, you're not new.
Yeah, Joey. For those of you waiting for Jordy Boffs, there was an issue over at Cryptic Studios. We're hoping to have all of those things remedied by the end of the week. But you should have received an email from me, and I've been trying to do my best to keep you all in the loop. There's also a new face joining us.
I'm fairly new.
Fairly
yeah.
new. That's
Hello.
right.
Speaking of new.
Speaking of new, so
Yeah.
as you know, Tony, okay, who has been a part of Priority One for almost as long as I have, does another show. He does Guard Frequency. He fully produces that on his own, and well, not on his own, but he's the producer of that show, much like I am the producer of this show. And as such, you know, his time is shared between the two shows, and that's his passion. And so Tony was always kind of has always been there for us. But filling Tony's shoes is one of our audio editors who also is our host for After Hours. Roscoe, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Elio. Kat, it's so nice to be here. And I think, as I mentioned on the live stream when we caught up for the 500th episode, it's really nice as an audio editor to talk to you guys and you actually have talk back. That's really just a nice change than me having the arguments with you saying, "I can't believe you just said that. Oh my God, I'm going to have to edit this out. This is going to make things interesting." But
I
now
was
you
gonna
talk back,
say,
so I can't
yeah.
say that as much.
Instead
Sorry.
of you cursing at us, oh my God.
Yeah. So now it's going to be my apologies up front to the audio editors for what they have to work with now. So let's see how it goes.
It's gonna go great. It's gonna go great. We're glad to have you. You've been an excellent addition to After Hours. and it just felt natural. But don't forget, captains, we are still looking for a fourth host. And so if you are interested, feel free to reach out to us at incoming@priorityonepodcast.com or visit our website at priorityonepodcast.com. Yeah, priorityonepodcast.com. And if you are a member of the LGBTQ or BIPOC community, we strongly encourage you to join. We want to represent all voices, as many voices as possible in the Star Trek community. As you can see, the hue is quite light on this panel, and I'd love to change that. I may be Latino, but I don't represent all minorities. So if you're interested, please consider applying. All right, why don't we do a show? I think we should jump in and do a show. Everybody ready for
Let's
a
do it.
show?
Yes.
Let's do it. How before we start, how was your 500th episode recovery? Everybody good?
Yes, but I was so tired the next day.
Yeah.
It
I was only
so-
on for an hour, so I was fine. But then I'd also, it was during the middle of the day for me as well, right at the end of the stream. And earlier that morning, I'd gone for a run. So I'd gone for a run that morning and then did the stream. And then I just chilled out and relaxed. So great day. It was really good.
Nice.
Good for
I did
you.
not have time for a run. But those of you in chat that are interested or have said that you're tempted to join us, please fill out an application because we'd love to talk to you. That would be amazing.
Oh, and Stevens Aaron from Queensland
Oh, yeah.
asking where in Australia I was from. Queensland. I'm based in Queensland.
Nice.
Nice.
He's in New Zealand.
Nice.
Great. Excellent. We
All
love our
right.
trans-Tasman bubble. We'll get it going, man. We'll get it going.
All right, so let's open this show. Kat, you want to do the cold open?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna hit the big red button here, and then Kat will keep you updated on times,
All right then.
and I will. Okay. All right, we're starting intro in 3, 2.
This week on episode 501 of Priority One, upcoming documentaries, new writers take on Star Trek, and Nicholas Meyer is still pitching Trek ideas. Wait, still pitching a Trek idea?
Oh, Trek ideas.
Okay. Dang it, I did it right the first time. Duh. This week on episode 501 of Priority One, upcoming documentaries, new writers take on Star Trek, and Nicholas Meyer is still pitching Trek ideas. Meanwhile, in gaming, Star Trek Online is gearing up to celebrate First Contact Day.
Hello, captains. You're listening to episode 501 of Priority One. Shoot, this is what happens when you wear a hat. You hit the microphone. I shouldn't be wearing a hat, but I didn't do my hair today.
Me neither.
Hello, captains. You're listening to episode 501 of Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. Your weekly recap and review of all the major news happening in the Star Trek multiverse. This episode was recorded on Tuesday, March 23rd, and available for download or streaming on Friday, March 26th at PriorityOnePodcast.com. I'm Elio.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Roscoe.
Roscoe? Wait a minute. That's a different voice. Hello, Roscoe. Welcome to Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. Captains, you may have remembered that Tony is now dedicating 100% of his time on his own show, Guard Frequency, which he has done for several years now, but needs to focus again on his show. And it only seemed logical to already bring aboard somebody who has amazing experience, professional experience in broadcasting, but has done a phenomenal job with leading After Hours, our podcast dedicated solely to our patrons over at patreon.com. Roscoe, welcome to the main show. We're so excited to have you. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Elio, and hello, Kat. Great to
Hello.
be here and great to be on board. I'm really excited about talking Star Trek every single week on Priority One. It's been a wonderful journey to be a part of the fantastic audio editing team. For around about a year or so, I got in touch and joined the crew just after Star Trek Las Vegas 2019 because back then, remember the days of when we can fly internationally and we could do things overseas? What an amazing time that was, and I really appreciated it. So that's when I caught up with all of the crew from Priority One, came in as an audio editor, and have been a part of the team ever since. It's been wonderful to be a part of it. And now, Tony, you will be missed. I cannot fill your shoes, but I will certainly just turn on the microphone and have a go anywhere. I've been in radio for about 20 years or so, a little bit more actually, I think, but I don't tend to keep count. I've been here in Queensland in Australia working for a number of years and have been working on radio for a little while. So hopefully I can bring something. It's certainly a level of expertise and a depth of knowledge when it comes to Star Trek. I can bring a little piece from my corner of the world to Priority One. So let's get into it.
Nice.
Now, Captains, even though Roscoe has taken over for Tony, we're still in need of your help. Our door is always open to other passionate Trekkies who might be interested in joining our team, and we're still looking for a fourth voice to join our podcast family. Oh, no. This is all mixed up now, and I don't know where to go. Hold on. So, if you are interested in becoming a fourth host, visit our website over at PriorityOnePodcast.com, and up at the top, there's a Join the Team link with a handy form that you can fill out. And remember, Captains, if you happen to be a member of the BIPOC and or LGBTQ plus community, we strongly encourage you to audition. We want to elevate voices. We want to elevate We want to make sure that the Star Trek community is represented as diversely as it is on our show. Right now, if you look at us, we are all a bunch of white folks. And although I may be the closest thing to a Latino, I would love to have a voice on the show to help elevate the conversation and to help make sure that different aspects of the Star Trek community are in fact represented on our show. Because after all, we are a community podcast. Go ahead and jump into this, please.
Also, this week, we want to welcome new listeners to the show and hope you'll stay in touch. Given that we're a podcast built by a community of Star Trek fans, it's important that we also hear your opinions. Be sure to follow us on places like Twitter and Facebook, where we post weekly community questions, special announcements, and more. Just search for Priority One Podcast on your favorite app, and you'll find us. Or you can email us. You can reach us at incoming@priorityonepodcast.com.
All right. Yeah, Kat and... Oh.
What? You want me to do the next bit?
Yeah, just combine these two. Just say all this together.
Okay. As Roscoe said, this is a community podcast produced by a team of volunteers that dedicate their time and talents each and every week. From audio editors to writers to us, the hosts, we come together each week because we're passionate about the Star Trek multiverse. And like any passion project, it's hard to keep things running at no cost. So if you find value in this production and want to help us continue, if you find value in this production and want to help us continue to grow, check us out at our Patreon page. There you can become a patron for if I could talk. There you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month.
Roscoe, can you read that last line, please?
Now, let's see. Yeah. Now, let's find out what's been happening in the Star Trek multiverse.
All right, that ended at 7:18, Kat.
In answer to your question, Ragnats, how much Stowe have I played? I've been playing since the Dyson Sphere, the Dyson Sphere expansion. So I think that was about 2014, just after it went free to play.
That's in part how we met. It was at I don't think people are. I don't think the general audience knows that story. So you were at Vegas in, was that 2019 or 2018?
2019.
2019, right?
I was at Star Trek Las Vegas.
Yeah, and it just so we were always, as always, we're looking for audio editors, and I remember Jake telling me, "Oh, somebody came by, tall dude from Australia, Roscoe, he says his name was, and he said that he was interested in becoming and joining the team and being an audio editor." And I was like, "Oh man, that's awesome! Did you get his information?" And Jake was like, yeah, I got his information. Cool. All right. And I told him to come back later. And 2019, I was surprising. I was busier than normal, and we kept missing each other until finally I was walking out of the vendor hall. Right, it was like right outside the vendor hall. You were coming into the vendor hall, and you stopped me, and you were like, "Hey, I'm Roscoe." I was like, "Oh, well, Roscoe, hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you." And it was like that brief 2-second moment that we met. And now history is told.
That ship in the night kind of thing. We both had places to go. I think I was maybe on my way to getting my photo taken with Jonathan Frakes. It might have been on the way to the 10 Forward set where I got my photo. Did the fist bump with Frakes,
Nice.
and then and just had a bit of an emotional moment then. So that was okay. Dealt with that as best I could. And yeah, it was great because I reached out to Priority One and said, I've never been to a Star Trek convention before. What do I need to be aware of? What are some of the things that I need to know? And the immediate response was hydration. You need to factor in hydration. You need to stay hydrated and wash your hands. So yeah, that was excellent advice. I'm glad we could run into each other. I'm glad Jake didn't just go, this guy came along and he said he's an audio editor. I've heard that a million times, and thankfully this time it stacked up and I actually could edit a little bit of audio, so it's worked out rather well.
That's somebody in the chat. Who was it? Palumzama. When did you get Star-Lord to do the show? So you look like Chris Pratt, sir. You look like Star-Lord. I can see it.
I will take that. I will take that. Thank you. That is very, very kind. Now, am I Star-Lord? Am I Andy from Parks and Rec? That is the question. I'll take the Star-Lord reference.
Star-Lord.
Sure.
I mean,
Oh my
you could
God,
be
that's funny.
karate.
Get out of
karate,
town. That's crazy.
What was his name? Karate. Oh, his alter ego, his little show on Parks and Recs.
Oh,
Mhm.
no. Oh.
Yep.
Karate
Yep.
something.
I know exactly what you're talking about and cannot remember it.
Yeah. So I just
Can't
finished.
remember
It's funny.
it either.
I just went through a binge of that. All right, let's move on to general Star Trek news, shall we? So that's starting at 11 minutes, Cap. All right, check it out in 3, 2. On Friday, March 12th, big Strange New Worlds news dropped. In a post on StarTrek.com, the casting of 5 new series regulars was announced. Does anyone else think that this is interesting? 5? 500th? No. Oh, for our 500th this joke did not age well.
Yeah, I tried to edit some of that, but I didn't realize that was in there.
All right.
My bad.
On Friday, March 12th, big... Actually, all right, let's take it from 11:41, Cat, please.
All right.
Track it out in 3, 2. Last week, on Friday, March 12th, big Strange New Worlds news dropped. In a post on StarTrek.com, the casting of 5 new series regulars was announced. The StarTrek.com article featured a video with the 5 new faces. Babs Olusanmuku. Olusanmokun.
Better you
Babs
than me.
Olusanmokun. Babs Olusanmokun, Christina Chong, Celia Rose Gooding, Jess, Jess, Jess Bush, and Melissa Navia, along with Anson Mount, Rebecca Romaine, and Ethan Peck. The video not only introduced the fresh new additions, it also officially announced the start of production on the highly anticipated. It also officially announced the start of production on the highly anticipated Strange New Worlds. I need water. It's like we were gone for 2 weeks. Co-showrunner and executive producer Akiva Goldsman said in the article, quote, "In a career, there is never enough work that is pure joy. I feel that my friend Alex Kurtzman, along with David Staff at CBS Studios and Julie McNamara at Paramount Plus, have given me just that. By letting me haunt the stock rooms of my favorite candy store, and I am grateful. With a hell of a cast and undying love for the original series, we boldly go." End quote. For more news about the newest Star Trek regulars or to watch the video referenced here, be sure to check out our show notes.
Yeah, I didn't know too many of those new cast members. I mean, some kind of looked familiar, but I'm excited that Strange New Worlds is actually doing something.
Yeah, a lot of the credits are very familiar. So Babs was in pardon me. So Babs was in Netflix's Black Mirror, was in The Defenders, and a few other miniseries as well. He is going to be in June, the new film adaptation of June. So that's exciting in itself. So a lot of the TV programs and films that we've seen on their list of past credits is very familiar. So I think that's good that we will see a lot of familiar faces. We won't necessarily know them straight out of the gate, but we will get to know them hopefully very well, because I'm really looking forward to Strange New Worlds. I find it interesting that Akiva Goldsman talks about the undying love of the original series. That, for me, came through a little bit in Discovery, the fact that we had the Guardian of Forever turn up as a critical plot point at one point in the series. So, yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful with Strange New Worlds. Really looking forward to it.
There's a couple of things about this too, right? Not only they've had some minor work in other not minor, but they've had there's a couple of things that interest me about this is not only their work in other series, but they're not huge names, right? And I feel like Star Trek is kind of tapping into that, into new talent, people who may not have a lot of television experience, which is good, right? Which can breathe new life into a franchise as old as Star Trek, but also the diversity of this group, right? Evelyn points out in the chat that, the difficulty in pronouncing these names is a good thing, right? Is a good thing. We are finally rounding out casting with people of color, people that are just not cis white males, in the not just in the captain's chair, but surrounding him with people of diverse cultures. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. Just get me my Cuban captain, man. Give me my Cuban captain.
Shout out as well to Jess Bush, because she's an Australian actor. She was in a couple of critically acclaimed Australian series, one called Halifax Retribution, another one more recently called Les Norton, opposite Rebel Wilson, and another Australian actor, David Wenham, who was Faramir in Lord of the Rings. So it's always great to see Australian actors do well. Very excited to see what she brings to the role, and always nice to hear another accent. It's a great way to spice up a podcast or a TV series, I find.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Star Trek fans love a good documentary about, well, Star Trek. So, if you're one of those Star Trek you. Damn, I knew I was going to screw that up. So, if you're one of those Star Trek humanitarians, that just still doesn't work.
It was so close. It was so. You know
I
what? Take out that
know.
hyphen. Take out that hyphen. There might be a hyphen.
Okay. So, if you're one of those Star Trek humanitarians, then our good news keeps getting gooder. The folks that delivered
I
the
refuse to let that go into this podcast. I refuse to allow
I
gooder.
hate that word. I really who
I
wrote that?
I support that.
I can't deal with it.
allow gooder to be in this. Keeps getting better.
All right, thank you because that was bothering me too. All right, let's try this again. Star Trek fans love a good documentary about, well, Star Trek. So if you're one of those Star Trek humanitarians, then our good news keeps getting better. The folks that delivered the popular Down to Earth with Zac Efron and the Toys That Made Us have announced their newest 8-episode miniseries set to air on the History Channel, The Center Seat, 55 Years of Star Trek. And it's about Star Trek. The project was created and directed by the Nacelle Company's founder and CEO, Brian Volk Weiss. Wait, yes. Dang it. I practiced that one too. The project was created and directed by the Nacelle Company's founder and CEO, Brian Volk Weiss, who said the series, quote, Star Trek from before I was 10 years old gave me the closest thing I have to a code to follow in my life. If it wasn't for the words, I don't believe in the no-win scenario, I'd be very alone, broke, and miserable in this world. So to say that this is a passion project would be a tremendous understatement, end quote. According to Deadline, the project is described as the, quote, ultimate deep dive into the world of Star Trek, timed to coincide with the iconic sci-fi franchise's 55th anniversary this year. It will offer Trekkies a behind-the-scenes look at pivotal moments in the franchise's history, from its inception at Lucille Ball's production company Desilu through recent film and television adaptations, end quote. No official release date has been announced, but keep scanning Priority 1 for updates.
I normally am a little concerned about History Channel documentaries, but it's from the same folks that brought, like the Toys That Made Us, these Netflix documentaries that have actually been pretty good. So it may not be terrible, and we may not see Aliens guy.
Oh, that guy. Well, I mean, the company is the Nacelle Company. I mean, that's just. I mean, I believe the guy when he says it's a labor of love project. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, that says a lot. The only way that could get better is if it was the Bassard Collectors Company.
That would be amazing too.
They're also they're also the same company that is working on Gates McFadden's podcast. That's coming out of them, and she's an executive producer on this documentary too. So that's cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fantastic. The Toys That Made Us, I really enjoyed it. The He-Man and the Masters of the Universe episode is just fantastic. The deep dive into the psychology of making boys' toys and how they went about it was absolutely fascinating. And just the sheer churn of pumping out character after character was fascinating. So I can highly recommend that episode of The Toys That Made Us. The Star Trek episode is very, very good as well because it shows how Star Trek laid a lot of groundwork for the modern toy industry and taking film and television works and bringing them into the home. So it's an excellent episode as well if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it really is a good one.
I'm like, I really like History Channel shows. Drunk History, that's amazing. Wait, that's on Comedy Central, isn't it?
It is.
Either way, that show is awesome as well.
All right, Roscoe, go ahead.
We love talking Star Trek movies. We love talking about possible casts, directors, writers. We love talking over and over about possible plots and would-be cameos. Love it. Love it. Okay, if that sounded a bit, let's say, facetious, it's because it was. On Thursday, March 4, Deadline report.
Your accent just helped so much with that. So much.
Great.
And it's not an accent, right? It's just your way of speaking. I have an accent to you, but just that Australian melodic tones of yours just delivered that so. We're gonna get letters.
I hope for good ones. That's all. PO Box Elio at Priority One Productions, and that'll be fine. Now, where was I?
Okay.
It's enough. Stop it. Stop it. You're being too kind. Won't be this much fun when I screw it up. Touch wood. On Thursday, March 4, Deadline reported that a path.
Take it from okay. Take it from okay. Okay, if that sounded a bit.
Okay. Okay, if that sounded a bit, let's say, facetious, it's because it was. On Thursday, March 4, Deadline reported that a path has been re-chosen and another writer is set to take the helm. Discovery scribe Kalinda Vasquez. Vasquez has served as co-executive producer on Fear the Walking Dead and recently teamed with Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin to tackle an adaptation of Roger Zelazny's sci-fi novel Roadmarks. It is believed that this newest iteration will be independent of Trekantino and Noel Hawley's now defunct Pandemitrek. But beyond that, little is known about the project. Keep your ear on Priority One. We are sure to cover all the big movie news.
You know, I can't really find much about her background, right? She sounds like she has a Latino name, and I really want to praise that. I want to praise that they hired a Latino writer to be on board. But I don't want to make an assumption, and I can't confirm whether or not she is. If she is, that's pretty cool. I like that. I'd like to know that we have a Latino in the writing Star Trek. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great, I guess, that they are going to go forward with trying to do another movie. But honestly, I'm like, we keep hearing movie rumors all the time. I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it some more.
Yeah, give me a poster. I will believe it when there's a poster. Then I'm good. Rumors, great. It's fun. I'm excited. Could we get another Star Trek on the big screen? Who knows? Because they keep people like Alex Kurtzman keep on saying things like Star Trek belongs on television. That's great. We like that. It also has a place, I think, on film screens, on movie screens as well. Big budget, big storytelling. I hope it will get there, but I'll believe it when I see a poster.
We love talking Trek movies. Whoa. Deja vu. But this Star Trek movie news... But this Star Trek movie news, or maybe it's but this Star Trek movie news, or maybe it's better to call it a talking point, is pretty exciting. On March 10th, friends of the Roddenberry network, TrekMovie.com, reported that Star Trek legend Nicholas Meyer has pitched his own idea for Star Trek's next silver screen showing. According to the story, Meyer told Trek Movie, quote, "My partner, Stephen Charles Jaffe, and I wrote a whole treatment and plan for a Star Trek feature film. We didn't write a whole script. We wrote a very detailed treatment and a whole pitch doc with illustrations. It's a very comprehensive thing, and we And we first took it to Alex Kurtzman, and then we took it to J.J. Abrams, and then we took it to Emma Watts at Paramount, end quote. Meyer clarified that the whole story was not a rehash of the SETI Alpha story, but something entirely different before saying, quote, it was a detailed proposal for what could have been a film. Or it could have been a series, or it could have been a film leading to a series, or a series leading to a film. It could be a series of films. Yeah, absolutely. End quote. Meyer continued saying, quote, it could be a series of films. Yeah, absolutely. This is an independent piece of the Star Trek universe based on holes in the chronology, which would allow for the insertion of original material. End quote.
Could you please clarify, was that a film leading to a series, or a series leading to a film, or a film and then another film which would lead to a series and then a film and then an animated series?
It could have been
Come
a film
on.
series
Yes,
with a series of films.
absolutely. All of that.
Okay.
Isn't it? I
So it's a DVD box set that
What
you could
is
get as a Blu-ray,
the-
which would have special features. That is great.
You see, here's the
Very
thing, man.
detailed.
If there was one person that I would really like to see back at the helm of a Star Trek story, it'd be Nicholas Meyer. I mean, both his Star Trek films are just some of the best.
absolutely agree.
If not
But
the
it's
best.
like it's a treatment.
No argument
with
there.
No script. I'm like, but that's not. And if you had to take it to Kurtzman, but then J.J. Abrams and then someone else, I mean, did Kurtzman not like it? What's the deal? There's not enough information here.
There's not. But, you know, it's interesting because the Nicholas Meyer was doing rounds a bit, and one story I had read was, if it wasn't him, I'm pretty sure it was him talking. They were talking about how in the scene on SETI Alpha 5, they didn't have a black stunt double to fill the role of them walking in the desert, so they put a guy in blackface in the costume, and it had to be edited out. And it's not a very good edit out. You can still kind of see it supposedly in the film, where when they're in the desert walking towards the container to scan for life forms, that stunt double is a guy in blackface. Can you believe that shit?
What?
For that
So-
for that time, unfortunately, I can. Yeah, it's something now that wouldn't even be considered, but unfortunately for the time, yeah, I can believe it. It's sad that it happened. That's not great.
Not at all. Not at all. Hold on a second. Yeah. The I'm talking about Paul Winfield's character, right? Captain Terrell, right? As they're walking towards the shuttle in their spacesuits, that was a stunt double, but they couldn't find a black stunt double. Instead of waiting to do it, they put some dude in blackface. It's crazy. We'll put the links in the show notes if you want to read more about it.
Now, we love talking Trek movies. Hang on, are we in a time loop here?
I think we're in a time loop. What's happening?
I think we're in a time loop. We also love hearing from Trek actors, and the inevitable question, now that we have new series like Picard and Lower Decks, would you consider a return to your role? Now, who could be the most important character to consider returning? Thanks to Lower Decks, we know it must be Miles Edward O'Brien. In an interview with Collider, Cole Meany spoke about his new island-set crime story, Pixie, but was also asked if he would consider a return for the Chief. Meany responded by saying, quote, "I've always felt that 7 years in a spacesuit was long enough. I don't know. As you get older, you kind of get a bit nostalgic about some of the stuff you've done in the past. It might be nice to go back and have a look at it again. generally speaking, over the years, I would have been reluctant to go back to O'Brien, I have to say. But, never say never, end quote. When Meaney was told about Mike McMahon's reference to Deep Space Nine's Chief of Operations being the most important person in Starfleet history, he responded by saying they finally got it right.
Amazing. I think it'd be awesome. How could O'Brien come back though? In Picard, I guess.
Lower Decks is the perfect vehicle for any Star Trek actor to come along and reprise their role, even if just for a moment. If they weren't sure, if they didn't want to put the spacesuit on, you turn up to a Lower Decks recording session, you do it at home, you're in your PJs. I think it's the avenue that so many actors could return to the role, and that's great. I love it. I love Mike McMahon. He's very good.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't need any other reasons to watch Lower Decks, but yeah, if O'Brien came on for a moment, that'd be amazing, just like when Q did.
Well, captains, that's all the news we have to trek out this week. Now let's find out what happened in the world of Star Trek gaming. All right, 3051, please, Cap. That was the end of Trek It Out, 3051.
Got it.
All right. My eyes are dry.
Roscoe, did we ask you what your favorite Star Trek series or film was, if that was your introduction to Star Trek?
Ooh, my introduction to Star Trek, I remember very clearly watching Encounter at Farpoint. I'd always liked science fiction as a kid, so it debuted in Australia in 1991. So we had to wait a couple of years before it actually came over to Australia. And when it did, it was on I remember it being on in prime time for the first season. And there was always a lot of hope that this was going to be the thing. This was going to be the thing that would get science fiction on in prime time. They did it with Voyager, I think, as well, putting it on at a reasonable hour. And then it got, after maybe the first season each time, it got shuffled to a much later time. There was still a dedicated fan base that would watch it on free-to-air television, but not during. It didn't have the numbers in Australia to justify it being on during in peak prime position. It just wasn't going to happen. So, yeah, Encounter at Farpoint, and then because it changed, I rediscovered it. The time of the airtime changed. I rediscovered it in about halfway through the third into the fourth season, and watched that, and then went back, and then Deep Space Nine, and it just went on from there. So, yeah, that was a while ago.
That's awesome. Did your family watch with you? Yeah, seems like a while back for you. No, it was just you?
No, they did not. It was a lot of. Are you watching that again? Oh my god! Why are you rewatching this show? It's good. Leave me alone.
I want to re-record.
I like it. I want to grow a beard.
I want to take a moment and re-record the little excerpt that I did about Wrath of Khan. Lawrence points out something that I had. It had been a couple of weeks since I read the article, and now I'm reading it over again, and it's important to point out what Lawrence brought up. Can you jot down 3640, please, for Trek It Out Part 2? You know, while we're on this topic of Nicholas Meyer and Wrath of Khan and how awesome all these movies have been, Trexperts hosted, who is another podcast, hosted Edward Eddie Egan, who served as Wrath of Khan's unit publicist. And he shared an interesting tidbit about the production of Wrath of Khan, explaining that the ground scene on SETI Alpha 5, where you see Captain Terrell, Paul Winfield, and Chekhov, Walter Koenig exploring walking towards the life sign, those were actually stunt doubles. But the casting person was unaware that Paul Winfield was an African American actor, and so didn't hire a African American stunt double to fill that position. So by the time they got to rolling, according to the guests on their show, quote, hold on. Quote, they made a judgment to make the stunt double up as an African American, end quote. So it was a conscious choice to then move forward until somebody informed the union during the shoot, and they had to stop and actually find a proper African American actor, a stunt double, to play the role. It's insanity.
So crazy.
I think it speaks to the quality of the production that they saw their error and stopped production until they had rectified that. I think that's good. I think that's a good sign, or it would have been at the time.
According to the podcast, in one of the main shots, the camera coming up over the rock, it's two white actors. You can see them, and one of them is still made up as it's still made up in blackface. It's not. We're not gonna play it as if though they were making them up as something. No, they were in blackface. That's crazy to me. They're CBS should get on top of that of trying to fix that somehow.
For sure. Yeah, Anne Marie in chat says, who working on Star Trek assumes people are white? Like here in Star Trek, it could be any color, anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a poor casting director. That was terrible.
Yeah, I'm like, that was poor planning.
All right, 39:30, please. At the end of this, check it out, part 2.
Okay.
Star Trek gaming.
Yeah, gaming. Let's jump into gaming.
Okay.
So gaming we'll do at 39:45, please. All right, gaming in 3, 2.
From now through April 1st, Star Trek Online's having a party and you're all invited. No, it's not the First Contact Day event, but you really... Wait, haven't we already done this bit before? Well, yes, but Klingons have been getting a lot of attention recently, and Stowe's other, sometimes villains, are feeling left out. Anyway, it's another Galactic Red Alert event. Everything's the same as before, down to the spec point. Universal Tech Upgrade and Experimental Ship Upgrade prizes for completing it. Find the full event description and conditions in our show notes. But by now, you know what needs to be done.
I mean,
It takes 5 minutes.
literally, like, do the Borg one, or even the Tholium one doesn't take but, a couple minutes, and you get all those things.
Yeah, they haven't. It doesn't look like they've gone into the specific details, but we've all done this quite a bit now, right? It's going to be X amount of days means X amount of daily progress to get your grand prize. In this case, 14. So,
Yeah. Or you
similar
can
formula.
buy it out if you're even that lazy that you can't do 2 minutes a day for 10 days
Yeah.
or however long it is.
Now, if you're thinking to yourself, why is the Mars attack on celebrating part of First Contact Day? It's because the Mars attack happened on First Contact Day 2385. That's when the synths went cuckoo.
Yeah. True story.
I'm excited about the mining laser hand weapon.
Just leave it
That
at
is
that because
that is one of the prizes.
I really hope we can do a silly commercial with that hand laser. So we'll just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that and move on to the next. Move on to the next story.
All right.
Okay.
Kat, why don't you take this next one?
Klingon opera, possibly the one art form in the galaxy that makes Wagner seem tolerable. But put the two together and you have one of the most inspired pieces of Stowe background music to date. For your listening pleasure, To Hell with Honor joins the permanent TFO list at normal, advanced, and elite difficulty levels. And if the idea of Wagner puts you off, at least it's not Aktuk and Melota. Yeesh.
Melota.
I know. Oh my god. Perfect. Oh, so good.
Did I remember correctly that in a previous episode of Priority One, community manager Mike talked about how he did some of the vocals on To Hell with Honor? Am I remembering
Yes.
that correctly?
Yes,
Yes, he sang
that's
some of the-
correctly. He
the-
did. He sang some of that Flight of the Valkyries, Wagner
Mm-hmm.
loveliness in Klingon, which is even more amazing.
Well, dust off that magic carpet and scan for chronotons, because first contact day's upon us once more. That's my best. That was pretty. That, you know what? I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. That was pretty decent.
Wow.
Stowe turns its attention back to the Federation on April 1st. No, really. With event festivities running through April 22nd. Everything you loved from yesteryear's celebration returns, including the model rocket scavenger hunt and the One Night in Bozeman, TFO. But there's good news in orbital defense. But, wait, did we? Is this not the same? No, it's different. But there's good news if orbital defenses is more your speed. But there's good news if orbital defenses is more your speed. Or you just really hate.
Take it back. You said orbital defenses is.
Damn it. But there's good news if orbital defense is more your speed. Or you just really hate ground maps. Synthwave, the TFO set during Star Trek Picard's attack on Mars, joins the event lineup as we mentioned earlier, awarding daily prizes. Picard also provides this year's
Wait,
grand prize ground
awarding-
weapon.
Take it back. You said daily prizes. It's daily progress.
Progress.
Synthwave, the TFO set during Star Trek Picard's attack on Mars, joins the event lineup awarding daily progress. Picard also provides this year's grand prize ground weapon. Didn't we just cover this? No?
Sorta.
Didn't we just
No,
cover
I
this?
just mentioned it.
All right. Picard also provides this year's grand prize ground weapon as also... Picard also provides this year's grand prize ground weapon, the Martian mining laser, last seen mass murdering peoples on Utopia Planitia, with an interesting way to commemorate the day humanity reached for the stars and found a helping hand. Pew pew.
I really like that weapon.
Yes,
I'm a
that's right.
terrible
Celebrate First
person.
Contact Day with a murderous weapon that's since used to help almost destroy the Federation.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
But it looks cool.
All right, so it looks like we may have doubled up on. It looks like Thomas wrote.
My internet is terrible, by the way. So
Well, it also you're also across a massive ocean, so it's fair.
yeah, okay, that's fair.
Well, the way it was written was a little odd with the first bit because.
Oh, you know what I did? I started talking about shit, and I was on the wrong part of the page. That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what I did. All right, so whoever's editing Stone News, cut everything I was saying earlier after Roscoe opened the podcast, because I was definitely not paying attention. Sorry. I have to man a live stream. Okay, my attention is split.
Oh, look, something I just want to share with you in the studio here is that, oh, look, it's a tiny violin. Oh,
Screw you. All right, where are we? Here we go.
Magic? The
Yeah,
magic
Roscoe,
story?
why don't you
Who
take that
wants-
one?
Yeah.
or do we want to talk more about First Contact Day?
I feel like we covered that. Though I
Cool.
do love playing
Yeah,
it.
I think we talked about. Yeah, I think we talked enough about it.
But how cool does
Cool.
that weapon look?
Okay.
I mean, come on.
I've been really enjoying the Jatvash disruptor cannons on one of my new Klingon
too.
recruits.
Yes.
It's been great. Really, just good. Pew, 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 pew. And that's been very enjoyable. So, yeah, new sound effects, but still keeping it canon because immersion, it's great. All right. Let's see. Can we get a little magic in our stove? Let's find out. March 23rd marked the launch of Cryptic's newest open beta game, Magic Legends. Up to now, we've mostly discussed Magic Legends when Stowe developers have left Star Trek Online to join the Magic team. But a bit of interesting discussion on the Magic Legends Discord channel has us intrigued. Much like Stowe's lockboxes, Magic Legends has a monetization feature called Booster Packs. The first booster pack has been released, and the grand prize is a new character class called the Demir Assassin. In a conversation entirely too familiar to Stowe veterans, Magic players were bemoaning their luck when opening booster packs. Some players declared that they had spent hundreds of dollars without winning the assassin. Then a cryptic developer named cryptic_Misa dropped in with a comment. Misa, listed as a senior systems designer, said, quote, "Each time you open a pack and don't get an assassin, you have a higher chance to get it in the next one until it's 100%. End quote. So, captains, if Cryptic are willing to engineer magic loot boxes this way, why not Stowe loot boxes? What would it mean for loot boxes and promo boxes if the odds on the grand prize ship escalated?
I'd buy a lot more of those keys, wouldn't I? Or boxes if I got, higher returns each time. I mean, take my money cuz I want that ship.
So, okay, so as it is right now in Star Trek Online, you open up a lockbox and you just pray to RNGesus that you win the thing that you want, right? A ship
Right.
or whatever. And that
But
not just
you
applies to
get
lockboxes.
Lobi.
Right,
But
you
you
get
do
Lobi.
get Lobi.
Right, right.
So really, that should be your only motivation for opening those, because your chances of winning, as we learned from the guy that opened 12,000,
Right, a
that
few weeks
the
ago.
odds are like 0.1% or whatever it is, the standard that we've all calculated over the years. It's little. It's very small.
So at its present, the way it works right now is you just pray to RNGesus to open it to get a box that has the ship that you're opening, and this also applies to R&D boxes as well and Infinity lock boxes and all that jazz. But in Magic Legends, they've incorporated a feature where these loot boxes, if you don't get the reward that you want, that gold level prize, you can keep opening boxes with an increased chance of getting it until you finally get it. Right? That's what I'm understanding.
What it sounds like.
The thing that's
But-
important, the distinction that I think is important to make is that this is a character class. It's not necessarily like a starship. So it's the equivalent in Stowe of opening a lockbox, and if you are lucky enough, then you would unlock a Discovery era Klingon if that wasn't freely available. That would be the equivalent. So it wouldn't necessarily be if it was a starship, a tier 6 starship, tier 5 starship in a Stowe lockbox. It's a character class. So I look at that and go, that I feel is a little bit more justified in terms of wanting people to play the game, to play this new game and this new character class, and to get people invested, literally, monetarily, in the game because they want that character class. So the question would be, how would that work in Stowe? Would that mean it would be a tier 6 starship, or would they potentially look at doing that with a new character class that they would introduce at a future point? Like, could they do that with Talaxians and you don't have to have a lifetime subscription? That would be the equivalent. But then again, would you pay to open lock boxes if it meant at some point you were going to unlock Talaxians? For me, no. It would all come down to what the offer was.
Right, but in the chat they're saying that you're focusing on the reward and maybe not the mechanic of it. So what if Stowe like changed the mechanic of lockboxes to offer whatever reward it was that you wanted? If it was your chance was increased every time you open one. And I say, yes.
Yeah.
We of course would want that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
My point was to
Go ahead.
My point as well was to say that this lockbox in Magic Legends doesn't quite parry up with Star Trek Online and their rewards. It is similar, but it is slightly different because it's a character class and not necessarily the equivalent of a tier 6 starship. So I take the point about the focusing on the possible rewards. The mechanics is an entirely separate issue, but my point was to illustrate the differences.
Right.
I would love to see this kind of port over somehow to Star Trek Online. At the very least, you know what I would love for this to be applied to? R&D boxes. Because I do not like R&D boxes, nor do I find a point in opening them. There's no incentive for me to open up R&D boxes. I don't, as much as I want that ship, I will.
Oh, come on. Are you not crafting?
No, who's crafting? So, yes, even if it were to be applied to just R&D boxes to help kind of sweeten the deal a little more, then I would be okay with it. I would welcome that to the R&D boxes. But this would change the economics of Star Trek Online incredibly, right? So, you know, if the algorithm, let's say it is applied to the R&D pack, right? And everybody wants that tier 6 Connie, right? That beautiful tier 6 Connie that's only available through the R&D boxes. Let's say the algorithm is applied that you have to open up at least 10, let's say 20 R&D boxes. What does that translate to dollar-wise? 20 R&D keys. What is that?
4 is 1,000, I believe. 1,000 Zen for 4 R&D boxes,
Zen is
not, but $10.
So $10. So let's say they value the ship at $40 to $60. That'd be great. I'd be willing to drop $60. Haha, old joke if you're an old fan of the show. I would drop $60 for a ship, or maybe even 80, maybe even 100 for like that tier 6 Connie, right? So, do I think Star Trek Online is going to port it over? I don't think so. If they do, I think it'll be limited. It'll be with a particular new box of something that they're going to introduce. But I also think that this tech might be exclusive to whatever new Magic engine that they're doing. Because remember, this is a newer game, and Star Trek Online is on an older engine. And we've heard time and again how it's not easy to, take a feature from Neverwinter and bring it over to Star Trek Online, because Neverwinter is on a different shard and a different version of the engine. So I'm curious if this type of feature is one of those that will not port easily. Thank you for helping me with the math there, Kat.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Is this old or is this new? This
What?
Doomsday Dawns of Starfleet Academy.
Oh, I'm not sure. We've not read any of that any time recently.
Yeah, let's go ahead and read it. So, how about Roscoe? You take us here, and then Kat, you take us here.
Okay. In other Star Trek gaming news,
They say there's no devil, but there is. Heading right for Starfleet. Wait. Nope. They say there's no devil, but there is. Heading right for Star Trek Fleet Command. I saw it. The third and final part of Fleet Command's TOS arc is arriving, and it's bringing the fearsome Doomsday Machine. Players must fight to save the USS Constellation and the galaxy from doom. Along with the final phase of the TOS arc, the new patch brings some much anticipated new features. Chief among those is the Refits feature, which brings captains the chance to customize their ships with new visual cosmetic skins or weapon fire effects. Some refits even provide performance buffs too. TOS Scotty and Chekhov are joining as new rare officers. For all the details on what's new, check out Scopely's patch notes. We've linked them in our show notes.
And if you picked up Star Trek Adventures Klingon Rulebook last fall, you might have noticed some changes to how the game works. Now, rest assured, according to the continuing mission fan site, you have not entered yet another alternate timeline in the franchise multiverse. Continuing mission member, CM member Mephit James has offered a succinct breakdown of the new rulebook's mechanical modifications and clarifications. They'll probably be included as core rulebook errata.
Errata.
What is that? What word
Errata.
is that? I've never heard
Like
that word.
error.
Okay.
Thanks, Panda.
What's? I don't know that word at all.
It's like the errors that were done and fixed, probably.
Okay. These will probably be included as core rulebook errata in the near future. So trek on over and get caught up. Roscoe, why don't you take this one that was supposed to be for me?
I can take this one. Core RPG rulebooks tend to be hefty, and at 400 pages, STA's Klingon rulebook is no exception. But who has time to read all that when there are battles to be fought and glory to be won? For players short on time, funds, or attention span, Modiphius has a new Klingon-centric Quick Start PDF in their store. The Quick Start provides just enough direction to run the included adventure, the tip of the bat'leth. With 6 pre-made characters, you'll need to provide dice, tokens, blood wine, and other Klingon paraphernalia. But hey, you can't beat the Quick Start's price tag. Of nothing. Glory to you and your house. So this is so someone can start right now. Let's start a Klingon adventure right here, right now. 6 people, 6 pre-made characters. Need to start it today. No planning. You've got nothing to do. Maybe you've just gone into another lockdown. Let's get you gaming. Am I right? Does that sound about right?
Sounds about right. I suck at the tabletop RPGs, so maybe this is easier for me. Maybe this would be easier for me, but who knows? I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
All right, Kat, why don't you sweep us out?
That's the news from Trek Games this week. Now let's open hailing frequencies and see what's incoming.
All right, Stone News ended at 1 hour, 2 minutes. 010200.
And for future reference, erratum is an error in printing or writing. Plural is errata.
Thank you. I did right click and let Google define the word in the Google Doc.
Did
I
I
was like,
not
Thank you,
say
Pen.
what it was?
she did, totally.
You did.
Look at that. Defining words. What? All right then. Feedback and closing.
All right, feedback at 01, 02, 45. All right, feedback in 3, 2. Well, captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and I just bit my tongue. Damn it! Ah.
Oh,
Leave
drink
that
some-
in. Leave it in.
Oh,
Son
probably
of a
need whiskey.
Okay. Do we need to send someone around? You all
I'm
right?
good. I'm good.
Band-aids.
Well, captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages.
Last week, we released our 500th episode, and while we did not ask for any specific community questions, we were overwhelmed by the positive feedback. We can't help but share what all of you wonderful listeners have to say.
Jamal, don't hail so hard, Elio. Hailing frequencies! Right. On Facebook, Scott Parkinson commented, "Thank you so much for your 500th episode. Thank you so much for your 500th episode. As a longtime listener, I was blown away by the episode. This is by far the best episode you've ever done. I absolutely loved the interviews and guests you shared with us. Please do more like this. This was an absolute pleasure to listen to, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it."
Aw, thanks, Scott Parkinson.
Yes,
That's so nice.
That's fantastic.
I love the whole
Elio,
long-time
can you
listener,
you could do
first-time
one of those
caller.
every week, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we are working on, doing more interviews with other. Yes, we are working on doing more interviews with people who have been working on Star Trek for years now and exploring all aspects of Trek creation, from lighting to makeup to costumes to music, you name it. We're going to try to start a new adventure here on Priority One Podcast, so keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully people reply to emails.
Oh no, I want you to. Can you organize a 500-minute live stream every week? That'd be great. Because it was really good. We'll save that one
No.
for special occasions, maybe.
For special occasions. I was about to
Yep.
welcome you with my first curse at you. That would have been. I'm saving it. I'll save it.
Now
I'll
I
save it.
truly feel part of the team.
You're too new. You're too new for me to curse at you yet.
Let me just delete Tony's name here again.
Obviously, we updated the scripts totally, fully.
Totally
Mhm.
updated. Totally prepared. Preparation is the cornerstone of this organization. All right, moving on.
Also from Facebook, Dave Rutley watched the live stream and wrote, "It was an awesome afternoon/evening with you all." Thanks, Dave Rutley.
Thank you, Dave.
And from Priority One Podcast, and from PriorityOnePodcast.com, Sean Newboy replies, "Congrats on raising so much. Excellent job. Loved all of the interviews. Thanks to everyone that visited our community. Star Trek, The Odd Couple, love it. Thank you to everyone who contributed. 500 wonderful shows down. Looking forward to the next 500. Thank you, Sean Newboy. So are we.
Well, that wraps up episode 501 of Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. But there are more great shows available to you on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Just visit podcasts.roddenberry.com for a complete list. Then be sure to subscribe to them all and share them with your friends.
But we can't forget to send a special thanks to some of our Patreon supporters like David K. Rutley, Peter Archibald, and Gerald Bosch.
Jump down to...
Look at that.
Oh, no, we're both
You
doing
can't
it.
see this on the stream, but they're going through and they're deleting all the references to Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, we told
Still
you we
there.
were prepared.
Really welcome. Really welcome.
I did the intro. I just didn't get to the closing part.
All right. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. It's all good. It's okay.
Welcome,
It's okay.
Welcome, Roscoe. We love having you.
Yeah.
Woo! Where's Tony?
All right. Captains,
I love how
trying to
you
be
see, here's the nice thing about this is that there's a bit of a delay because he's so far away from us that I'll deliver a joke and then it takes a moment for him to react. It's great.
good one.
Oh,
All right.
Lord.
Captains, it's important to us that you get your voice heard and that you participate in the conversation. Leave us a comment on our website at priorityonepodcast.com, on our Facebook page at facebook.com/priorityonepodcast, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at priorityonepod.
And if you're still craving more, be sure to spend time with Winters, Anthony, Thomas, Gray, me, plus the rest of the Priority One Armada. Saturday nights, the Armada broadcasts live to review the latest news from Star Trek Online and the Armada community, including spotlighting some of our amazing members. With regular giveaways, there's something for all Star Trek Online players, whether you're new or a veteran. Follow us on all our social media accounts for broadcast times, and if you'd like to join the Armada, visit PriorityOneArmada.com.
This episode of Priority One Podcast is brought to you by our patrons through patreon.com. Captains, during these difficult times, we are humbled by the continued support of our patrons and the new ones that have joined throughout the course of the last couple of weeks. People like you who find value in the content that we produce each and every week and want to support this community-driven podcast. If you'd like to join the Patreon family, visit patreon.com/priority1.
And don't forget to tune into Priority One Productions' Guard Frequency podcast at guardfrequency.com. Each episode, the Guard will take you inside the universe of your favorite space sims, including a tabletop adventure played out by your hosts. And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Learn all about the latest publications, tools, tips, tricks, and traps in less time than it takes to skin a wyvern. Head over to heroesrisepodcast.com. Don't go there. Don't go there. That would be bad. Head over to heroesrisepodcast.com to discover their secrets.
Anthony made that mistake once too. Not Tony, but Anthony.
Saying that or went to that website?
Okay.
Alrighty then.
Thanks to our audio editors, including Gray, Brandon. Thanks to our audio editors, including Gray, Brandon, William, Daniel, Rand, Roscoe, sometimes, Lennon, and Skiffy.
You're welcome.
Thanks to our producer, Jake, and associate producers, Shane and Thomas. Together, they help us organize and write up our summary of the weekly headlines from the Star Trek multiverse. Thanks to our social media manager, Anthony. Thanks to our graphic artist, Alejandro, with support from Jason of the Priority One Armada. Thanks to the composer of our theme music, Chris Watts. But most importantly, a big thanks to you, the Star Trek community, our listeners, because without your ongoing support, none of this would be possible. All right. And I don't need to end time for that one because it's the end.
And
Thank you for taking the timestamps for me, Kat. Appreciate that.
Yep.
That is that.
And that's that, Captains. Well, Roscoe, congratulations on your first episode, 501. You started on a 1, and it's your first episode on 501 of the new era of Priority One. Welcome.
Why, thank you, my good man. What a pleasure it is to be here for King and Country.
Well, captains, we hope that you enjoyed our 501st episode. We had a lot of great conversations happening in the stream, in the chat. There, we had some new faces, some new names, and we're so very grateful that you joined us and spent your Tuesday evening with us. So thank you so very much. We hope that I noticed Eveline was said that she was Evelyn. My boss's name is Eveline, so now every time I see an Evelyn, I say Eveline. Evelyn was tuning out there during Stowe News, and thank you for hanging there in with us during the gaming coverage. We hope that everything else was entertaining, and that you all enjoyed it. And we hope that you'll join us again next Tuesday at 9:30. Remember, we've pushed our live time by a half hour, so that's happening now at 9:30 instead of 9 o'clock to accommodate.
That's me. That's on me.
That's all right, man.
Basically,
that's all right.
having other radio commitments at that time. So thank you for making that allowance, and thank you to you as well in the chat and on the stream for making me feel very welcome. One down, who knows how many more to go, but let's have some fun, and it should be really great. So yeah, thank you for making me feel very, very welcome. It is awesome, and will hopefully continue to be.
I'll be sure not to change the names back to Tony.
Oh,
Great.
dang.
You do that.
Roscoe, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. We'll see you again next week. Everybody, say goodnight.
Bye, y'all.
Night.
Evelyn, you can play Star Trek Online. We can walk you through it. No worries. It's a good thing. It's fun.
That's true. It's true. Email us, Evelyn, incoming at priority1podcast.com, and we'll get you all set up. And when I say we, I mean Kat, because she just said it.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, many experienced players. Happy to help.
Indeed. All right. Say goodnight, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Command code verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.